everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a Q&A because I haven't done one of these in a really long time, so I figured why not? There's a lot more of you here than whenever the last one happened, so here's the time to figure out more about me. So I posted on the YouTube community page. I never, I see people post about this, but I never really took it seriously as a place that I could get in touch with you guys, because ultimately this video is for you guys, my subscribers, so I figured this would be a good place to ask. But I also asked on Instagram. I have screenshotted, I think, all of the responses I got. We're not going to get through every question in this video, I will say that right now. So that being said, I am going to jump into the questions because we're going to talk a lot. This is likely going to be a really long video, but it's been a while since I've just kind of chatted with you guys. So let's go all the way back to when I posted it. This is from, should I say who all of these are from? The first one that I saw, the first question that got asked on YouTube on the community tab thing, is a one that I think I want to make an entire video about. It said, can you match each of your pet's personalities to a book? Yes, I absolutely can. And I feel like that should be its entire own video. Manny, short-term answer, Manny would have to be some sort of historical duke story because he is regal AF, and have you seen him? He is the most majestic looking creature and he is royalty. So he would need to be something where he could wear a top hat and a monocle. Albus would be a horror book because he's scared of life. Neville would be number 9 in a series because he's ranked 9 out of 9 pets. He's the worst. Cricket would be something super endearing and curious. I don't know. I have to think about that one. I want to make an entire video over that though, because that's like one of my favorite things that you guys have ever asked me. Okay, next. Have you guys ever thought about getting another mini horse friend for Hercules? Also, how do you organize your mugs and drinkware? I need tips. Lordy, I cannot answer the second one. I just don't organize them, and I have just taken over an entire cabinet in our kitchen. My husband's thrilled. But mugs are life. Like, warm, cozy beverages just go hand in hand with reading, and I clearly have a lot of books, so therefore I need a lot of mugs. That's my logic, and they all just get shoved into a cabinet. I don't have an answer for that one. For the first part, though, yes. When I initially sold my mare, which I think is a question that I saw come up, I did have 2 horses a few years ago. Actually, when I started my channel, if you scroll way, way back, you can see Muse, who was my thoroughbred mare that I had. I did have like a full-size riding horse, and when I rehomed her, it was kind of up in the air because it kind of happened quickly, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do as far as Hercules went. He's a very independent little dude. Like, he's never really cared about having horse companions as long as someone else is in the field with him. And I did not want to take on another horse. The main reason that I rehomed Muse was cost. Horses are expensive. I didn't want to take on a secondary horse. Meanwhile, I say that, but Hercules is like essentially a free lawn ornament. Mini horses you don't really need to feed. They're just like ticks. They eat grass and they balloon up. So I didn't really want to take on a second horse at that time, just because that's a second round of farrier bills and vet bills and dental floats and all of the horse care things. So goats were just the direction that we went and have been one of the best decisions that we ever made. But the ultimate goal in the future, whenever we move to a future property, we would like to get more land, have a slightly bigger farm, and I will likely expand on both species. I would like to have more mini horses and more mini goats. Those are like my chosen animals. I just adore them to pieces, and I want all of them in both sides. So yeah, in the future, possibly, because Hercules has lived with other minis in the past, and he is so happy with them. But he also is king of the herd. Okay, I'm already talking too much. What character in any book would your pets be? Oh man, you guys are thinking alike. We'll make a whole video over who my pets are in books. In book form, in character form, we could do that. Can you think of one book that might include all of them? Probably the Harry Potter series, just because that's a world of vast types of creatures and characters, but I feel like it's a very generic answer. Let me think on that. I will make an entire separate video about those type of questions because I love them so much. I might film it right after this. What are some of your favorite TV shows and or movies? Also, go to favorite drink. Favorite TV shows, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Gilmore Girls are top tier forever. Those will be forever my comfort shows. I will always put them on when I'm sick, when I need a little pick-me-up, when I'm in a slump. Those are my chosen shows. Buffy and Gilmore Girls. That makes me very much a millennial, apparently. Beyond that, I have been binging Criminal Minds. That's like a go-to. Avatar: The Last Airbender should be included in a favorites of all time because that's another one that I can just always put on, always love. As far as movies go, oh man, I'm such a millennial. All of my answers are super millennial based. I was gonna say Moulin Rouge is one of my all-time favorite movies. Again, can literally watch that millions of times and never get sick of it. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings also falls into that category. Those are just comfort series for me. I guess Harry Potter movies can also be tossed in there. Just, I adore comfort things. I'm not a big TV watcher, to be honest. I will binge through shows with my husband when like there's a new series that we want to watch. We will binge straight through it. And then I probably won't turn on a TV for like 2 months. It's just not my chosen form of media to consume. I'm solely a book person these days, but I do enjoy a good old classic comfort show. What else? Oh, and go-to favorite drink. I don't know. I like beverages. I feel like I'm gonna give generic answers. I'm a big coffee drinker. I like juice. I'm a 30-year-old, but I will literally drink juice over any other option. I'm a big fan of like orange juice and like tropical punch, and I don't know, I like beverages. Was that supposed to be alcoholic? Did I just go toddler on you guys and not adult? Favorite adult beverage is probably woodchucks, hard ciders. I'm a big fan of ciders. That's a more mature answer. Okay, moving on. What's your favorite recent read? Which pet of yours is most like you and your husband? Also, how's your husband doing after the accident? Oh man, thank you for asking. It's been 2 years. Year and a half, 2 years. For those of you who are new here or don't know, my husband got into a really bad like tractor trailer accident December of 2019. It's what kicked us in the butt to get married in January, and he broke his neck. But he's fine. He's actually perfectly fine. Back to living his normal athletic, competitive lifestyle. And is doing great. So thank you for asking. He is a-okay. Going backwards, which pet of yours is most like you and your husband? I feel like I should say Manny, the dog, is most like Randy just because they are the same. They are always together. They are always eating or begging from me to give them the food that I'm consuming. So I feel like the two of them are together. But who's the most like athletic and outgoing of all of the pets? Probably Elvis or Cricket, because Randy is like the competitive person in the relationship, so one of them maybe. Me, probably Rue. Probably Rue, because Rue is just an independent woman who just wants to snack and nap in the sun, and I'm like, girl, same. Samesies. Or Napoleon, because Napoleon is like super curious about everything in the world and has to thoroughly investigate things, and that's how my brain works, so one of those two. What does that say about me, that I'm the closest to two of my goats? I don't know. I'll take that as a compliment. Favorite recent read. Let me pull up my Goodreads. Oh, actually, you know what? Off the top of my head, Flock by Kate Stewart. Fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, next. If you could choose to live anywhere in the world, where would you live? Probably Ireland. I don't know. Big fan of Ireland. Always want to go to Ireland. Or Switzerland. Have you seen Switzerland? It's just, I want to live in like my desktop background, and that is Switzerland. It's beautiful. It sounds great. Also, Switzerland, I'm neutral. I am the most neutral person in life, so that's me. Those two places. There you go. Let's see. Do you enjoy being a booktuber more, less, or about the same as when you started? I feel like Booktube has evolved a lot from when I started. I have actually been on Booktube for a very long time, and I've been watching Booktube since basically the beginning of Booktube. Like, I started watching, like, Kat and Jesse and Christine back when, like, they were the only people talking about books on the internet. And it's very much changed and adapted, and I don't know if I like it more or less. I feel like it's harder now because it's super oversaturated. Like, there's tons and tons of booktubers, so you kind of really need to have like something that makes you stand out. But I feel like you guys have made my experience on here really unique, just because I feel like I have a really unique following on my channel compared to other channels. And I think that's partially just because I don't always read the norm as far as like all of the books that you guys see constantly on Booktube. And I think that kind of attracts a slightly different audience. So I feel like I have a better experience interacting with you guys and being a part of the community than people who are reading like mainstream books. So that's a thing. But Booktube has definitely grown and changed, and I don't know if it's better or worse than when I started. I feel like when I started, it was a lot of just fangirling and everybody just being super excited over everything. So it was a very like wholesome, welcoming environment. And it's evolved to, yes, include drama, yes, include toxic people and cancel culture and problematic things. So it's harder to be in Booktube these days. Which is not a bad thing, though. I feel like a lot of people have been checked and a lot of people are being held accountable, which I think are things that were lacking at the beginning. And it's not all the same. So I want to say probably about the same. I feel like it's very different than it was when it started, but I don't think of my experience as more or less fun than when I started. I've grown to love you guys a lot, and I feel like a lot less pressure to like put on a face and create specific content. So I feel more relaxed on my channel than I did when I started. So yeah, I'm gonna say about the same. It's been a fairly good experience for me personally, pretty much the whole time. Let's see. Okay, what do you and your husband like to eat for dinner, and what's a fun date night for you guys? Man, you guys are curious about Randy. What do we like to eat for dinner? We're children. we have the diet of children. Okay, so here's the thing. Recently, we have kind of switched our work schedules up, so it's very rare that we are both home for dinner. So we just kind of grab meals together when we can, basically, because I work night shift, he works day shift now, so we see each other in passing a lot, so we don't have a lot of meals together anymore. But I feel like we're a really big, not great influence to the American culture, but we're a fan of fast food. Like, picking up a pizza is like my favorite thing ever, because there's no pressure to cook, we don't have to do dishes, and it's pizza. I love pizza. So is that a really boring answer? What do we actually cook? I like spaghetti dinner nights. I like taco nights. I like when we get steaks. That's a fun dinner thing. What was the second half of that question? What's a fun date night for you guys? We're a big fan of tabletop games. That's something that like we bonded over, like video games, so we will always play Minecraft and Mario Kart and whatnot. That's what we did when we started dating like 10 years ago, and it still is a thing that we pull out from time to time. But if you guys have any good recommendations of really good two-player tabletop games, we are always looking for that. That's something that we always buy for each other as like a Christmas present every year, is a new game for us to play. But it's hard to find really good like tabletop games for two people, not for a group. Some of our favorites that we play periodically are Splendor, Sagrada, Patchwork, Jaipur. Those are ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But if you have any recommendations, let me know, because we are always looking for new ones to get, just because that is kind of what we do. Oh geez, these are all out of order now. Let's see. How long have you lived in your house, and how much land do you have? We bought our house, we closed on our house in January of 2013, I want to say. Yeah, because I was 23. So that was 2013. So how many years is that? 8 years now we've lived here. And we actually have not that much land. We only have an acre. But how our land is positioned, our house is really forward in our property. Like, our house is very close to the road, so we have an entire backfield. And our neighbors who are next to us own just the plot of land between our houses, and that's open land that they just like garden on. And then our property backs up to like I don't know, 150 acre cornfield. So we don't have neighbors around us, which is really nice. So it makes our property feel a lot more open. And we just have all of that fenced in. And our township, we're in Pennsylvania, we have townships. Our township is zoned as an agricultural township, so we didn't have to deal with like zoning ordinances as far as like putting a barn on the property and having animals or fencing or anything. it is not nearly as much land as we should have, but we also have mini animals. I know you guys, I don't think people understand how small the goats are. Like, Merlin weighs like 35 pounds. They're tiny. They're the size of a small dog. So they don't graze the ground too much, and Hercules is muzzled, so he can't really graze as much as he would like to, that's for sure. So as far as like land management goes, it's fairly easy just for what we have, but we will never add more to this property. Let's see. Is your husband as into having animals as you are? I don't think anybody is as into having animals as I am. I will gladly just collect animals until the day I die. He is a dog person. He's very much a dog person. He grew up having a lot of dogs, and he did have cats, actually. He is a cat person as well. But as far as farm animals go, no. That has been a slow introduction into the relationship. When we started dating, I was a barn manager at a horse farm, so he had never been around horses, so that was a crash course for him knowing what lifestyle I live. And he knew what he was getting into from day one, so I will say that. And he has been a good sport about it, and he adores the goats. The goats were, I think, one of the best decisions we ever made as a couple, just because it kind of turned me having 2 horses on the property to us having like a farm together, if that makes sense, because the goats were something that we decided on together, we learned about together, we take care of together. So that has been cool. The cats, it comes with the job. So he's a good sport about it. He adores the pets. He'll grump and groan about it till the end of time, but he's an ultimate like pet dad. Like, he is that dad who's like, we're not getting a cat, and then you see him like snuggling with the cat on the couch every single night. That's Randy. So he is a good sport about it. Let's see. If you were to get another farm animal, what would you get? Okay, the next step whenever we move is I want to get chickens. That's something that I feel like I should have. I want silkies so badly. Just look up silkies. I need that in my life so badly. And I've been doing endless research about chickens for years, like years and years and years. So that is something that whenever we do get more land, the first thing that I want to add to it is a chicken coop and like a chicken run area. Chickens. I know, that's a really boring answer, but that's like the real answer. The less realistic answer for you guys is I would love to have cooney pigs. I love them. Or, I mean, I would obviously like to have more goats and mini horses, but we already answered that question. What else? I know a lot of people would love me to say alpacas or llamas, but that's something that I know nothing about. I have friends who have alpacas and llamas that I could pick their brains and get information, but for some reason they're just not at the top of my list. I would love to get donkeys, but I love donkeys, but a lot of areas that you live in, you actually have to get like township approval from all of your neighbors because of the noise. I don't know. I know y'all like donkeys, and donkeys are cute when you see one video of a donkey braying, but let me tell you how not cute that is when that is your life 24/7. Like, you can't stop them from braying. So as much as I love donkeys, I probably won't ever own one. So I'm gonna go with the realistic answer of chickens in the future. Less realistic answer, cooney pigs. They're adorable. Let's see. What's a book you would recommend to someone who just started getting into romance? Ooh, I read a lot of fantasy with romance, but would love to get into romance outside of fantasy. Okay, that answered my question. For me, I switched into romance by discovering fantasy romance, and I realized that I like the romance part of the fantasy book more than the fantasy part, and I just kind of went from there. But my go-to answer for a lot of people who want to get into reading romance is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. And I think that's a really standard answer across the board that a lot of people would recommend, because that book is so well loved by non-romance readers as well, because I don't think the romance is what makes the entire story. Like, that is the ultimate plot point that drives the story forward, but there's so much more to it, and it's just written so well, and every character in that book is so well-rounded and fleshed out. And I feel like it's just a really good stepping stone to get into not only adult romance, but indie romance, because I feel like it has indie romance author vibes, because K.A. Tucker is an indie romance author. So that one, or if you're gonna go hard, go Kennedy Ryan, because you can't go wrong. She is the queen. Every one of her books is amazing. Grip specifically is the one that I would recommend the most, but that's an emotional series, so if you want to go emotional, go that way. Okay, let's see. Let's just kind of scroll. Random, but onions, I think that's supposed to say opinions, on Taylor Swift. And based on your thumbnail, which is Taylor Swift, I'm gonna say you're a Swiftie. Unpopular opinion? No, this isn't really an unpopular opinion at all. I don't really have an opinion. I'm not a diehard Taylor Swift fan. Honestly, my husband likes Taylor Swift more than me. But I'm not... I like her. I love what she's done for the music industry. I love what she's done as far as, like, representing, like, women and how she handled politics, and I respect her endlessly. And I like her music. I'll listen to it when it's on the radio, but I'm not a diehard fan. It's just not, I don't know, I don't listen to a lot of pop or a lot of her country phase. I was gonna say that, but it's been a while since she's been in the country phase. I like her stuff. Some of her songs are some serious bops, but I don't go out of my way to listen to her. But, like, she's one of those musicians that, like, or I feel like she's more than a musician at this point. She's one of those people that, like, I see the fandom and, like, I want to be included in it, but I know if I take that step, I'm a goner. I'm one of those people where, like, I don't casually join fandoms. So for the sake of myself and my sanity, I will just look in from the outside and appreciate everybody's love of her from afar. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Let's see. What's your favorite diamond painting you have done? Let me spin you right around real quick. It's this one. Let's turn you back around. Are we facing the same way? Sure, sure. I feel like I just say that one because, one, I love Randall Spangler paintings. The little draglins are my favorite, and I love the ones with books, and that one specifically took me eternity to do, so I feel like that one is my favorite one that I've done so far. What would be the top things you would recommend to someone who wants to start their own booktube? Okay, I know I've said that I was gonna film this video so many times, and it's still on the back burner. I have endless, like, bullet points and notes that I've taken for filming this type of video. First advice, just start it. And I know that sounds dumb, but, like, it's one of those things where, like, you just have to start it, and one, see if you like it, see if it's something that you think you want to keep going with, because I feel like until you sit down in front of a camera and start talking, you don't know if it's something that you would like to do, and also, I feel like it's one of those things that, like, once you're in the community, you will always wish that you had started sooner, because you would be further than you are, your career would be at a different point, if you had only started sooner, and, like, you just kind of have to start and see where it goes. More specific advice that I have that I feel like is fairly unique that I tend to give out is if you were thinking about doing it, or even if you already have a channel started, when you have a video idea, talk the video out. I mean that in the most literal sense, like when you're taking a shower, when you're driving in your car, when you're doing chores, something mindless, literally talk the video out loud, because I feel like I tend to have a lot of thoughts in my head. I usually take notes on my phone of things that I want to say in a video, but until I physically say the words out loud, I don't know how I want to phrase things. So I feel like talking videos out before you film them makes them flow a lot better, because you'll have already worked out, like, the conversation that you want to have in the video before you get to the editing stage, and you have to, like, piece things around. So that's a very specific piece of advice that I want to give a lot of people, because that's helped me a lot. I literally will take a shower and be talking in there to myself and just talking a video out. So that's a piece of advice. What is your favorite thing about having goats? Everything. They're so cool. Like, they were such a cool decision that we made, because I feel like it was just, like, a really quick... I don't want to call it impulsive, because I will never impulsively get an animal. I am an over-preparer when it comes to getting a new pet. I will do months and months of research beforehand. I will have all supplies on hand before the animal is in my care. But that was a very, like, quick snap decision. Like I said, when I rehomed Muse and Hercules was alone, he got lonely really, really quickly, so we kind of had to jump on it quickly. I feel like once we got into, like, the swing of things, we figured out all of the basics and stuff. The coolest part is that they're like little dogs, and I don't know how to explain it other than, like, do you know the, like, mentality you have of, like, sheep? Like, you picture sheep or you picture, like, chickens, and they don't really, it's just like a herd of animals that lives in a field. and they don't really have like individual personalities. I know they do. You don't need to tell me that. I know that all animals have personalities. They're all unique. But the goats are so like very specific. They're so interested in everything you do. They are genuinely curious and they get into everything, but they are so unique personality-wise, and it blew my mind. And I adored watching them grow from like babies where they were just like exploring the world to like who they are now. I love them. They're so great. So everything about having goats is great. Let's see, when did you start reading and what made you start Booktube? I have been reading my entire life. Like, there was never a point that I was just like, I'm gonna start reading books now. My parents read to us as babies, me and my brother. My parents read to us when we were babies, as soon as we could read. We were at the library every single week getting tons of picture books. Then we got to like young reader books, then chapter books. It's just always been a part of my life. I've literally always been a reader. So there was never like a tipping point where I was like, oh, I'm a reader now. Just forever, since birth. And what made you start Booktube? Like I said, I've been watching Booktube since the very beginning, and little known fact, I technically started this channel before what you guys have seen. I actually started it when I was like 21, and yeah, I've deleted all the videos since then. I think I've answered this question before actually in a Q&A. I regret deleting those videos, but it was from a very different time of my life. I was living in a different county, in a different house. I was doing things very differently. It was very much like early Booktube days, and I stopped for a while. And then I just kind of got back into it like 5 or 6 years ago and was just like, no, I think I can do this. This is something that I really enjoyed the first time around, and I want book friends. I want people to talk to on the internet about things. So that friendship, the community is what made me start it. I think that's it for the community questions, and I realize now this video is very long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to split this into 2 parts. I know I said I wasn't gonna answer every question. I just answered like all of the questions on the community tab. So this is going to just be like a part 1, and then I am going to stop filming for the sake of editing Chelsea, so I don't have to edit like an hour-long video. And I will do a part 2 later on in the week where I answer the Instagram questions. Sound good? That sounds good to me. Okay, I will see you guys then.